All right, let's just start. Probably some people will join in a few minutes, but that should be fine. So this is the MCAT Memory and Mastery webinar. So we hope to teach you everything to help you get perfect recall for the MCAT. Don't feel overwhelmed anymore, and really help you master all the important concepts. About me, I'm not an MCAT student myself. I am not even from the medical sector, but instead my learning challenge was learning Chinese. So for background, my wife is Chinese, and I wanted to speak with her family because they didn't speak English, and I tried to learn Chinese, but it was really difficult. So that's when I started looking into learning science and all of those methods, because I realized, like, well, my current methods are just not good enough. But I came up with a method that actually worked, and currently I'm living in China. Finally, I'm speaking with my wife's family and friends. So I was able to develop that method and to learn Chinese with it. And it's that same method that Traverse is using, and which you can use to learn a lot of other things, as we'll soon talk about. So yeah, here's a picture of me in China. And I think the basic lesson we can learn from that is it's not your IQ that's determines what you can learn or what you cannot learn. It's really like the learning system and the methods that you employ that make all the difference. And I think a great example of that is Raleigh. He's on the call here as well. And I met Raleigh earlier this year. Yeah, at that point he came to me. He said, like, well, I was frustrated with Anki for all this time. And I tried lots of tools, but then I finally found Traverse, and it's just so much better. And now I'm able to actually study for the MCAT. And then I think it was 1 month later that he actually had taken the MCAT, and his score came out. It was like a 99 percentile score. So then we both knew, well, we got something here that works. And with that, I'm basically going to ask Veli to share a bit more about his MCAT journey.
Yeah, well, first, I just like, if you guys haven't met Dom already, you've probably seen his emails to you. Dom is brilliant. He really is a rocket scientist. That's literally what he did before making Traverse. Super awesome. Always willing to push the boundaries to make a better app, and it's just cool to see someone that is that passionate about learning. So I was using Anki. I would imagine most of you guys know what Anki is. And so I used Anki for 2 years. I love Anki. And then about 6 months into my MCAT prep, I was like, I'm just have so much knowledge right now in these Anki cards, and everything's isolated and nothing's together. And it was just overwhelming. So then I started looking for a way to organize everything. And I went across probably 6 or 7 companies. And then I found this company in the Netherlands called Traverse. And I reached out to Dom and I was like, hey, I think this could actually really help medical students. And he was kind enough to meet with me. And, it really helped. It kind of just invoked a sense of enthusiasm once again in studying. It really gave me a great boost at the end of my studying. I kind of went through a lull, and then if you go to the next slide, I was able to get a 99th percentile, which I'm just grateful for. I mean, MCAT's just a hard test, and so Traverse was a huge part of that. But since then, Dom and I have just continued to work with students like you in just making the best app possible. An app that can help MCAT students, that can help medical students not only learn effectively, but really love what they're learning. Is there anything, Dom, that you want to share about this?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, we're basically on the same mission. Like, we want to build the best app for medical and pre-med students to learn, and like we want to build that together with all of you who are on the call now, and everybody else who's using Traverse. And I guess that's a good point to, if you haven't already done so, just put in the chat a bit more about you, where you're at in your med school MCAT journey. Why did you decide to join Traverse, and what is your biggest struggle right now? And that could be a struggle about your learning or about Traverse or anything really.
And if someone wants to talk about, it sounds like Georgina, you're studying for the MCAT. That's awesome. When are you taking your MCAT?
I'm taking mine in March, March 11th.
Okay, that's awesome. I took mine in March as well.
Yeah.
And how's it going so far? How's the studying going?
So far so good, but I'll say I'm also having a problem with Anki as well, because I feel like
Okay.
it's more of like facts instead of like connecting. So it's really hard for me to stay consistent, but I've been using that Anki. But
Yep.
apart from that, also I would say the physics and the chem part is where I'm struggling at the
Yeah.
most now. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing
Right.
that. Is there anybody else? It looks like Sarah, you're in high school. You're just getting a great head start. JD or Michael, are any of you guys studying for the MCAT or what are you guys studying right now? Looks like Ian said he's pre-med, just starting to organize concepts. He's using Anki. That's awesome. Michael, it looks like you were about to say something.
Yeah, so I've taken it twice now, and I'm preparing to take it for the third time in March.
Awesome. Yeah. That takes a lot of just character to do it again. So props to you.
Yeah.
And then Ian's also taking the MCAT. Okay. Well, the goal today is that each of you can find something valuable in this, something that'll maybe take you to the next level in your studying. And at the end of this, we're going to have a Q&A. So please ask the questions that you want to ask.
Yeah, and if at any point you have a question that comes up, just feel free to join in as well. Like we don't just want to restrict you to the Q&A at the end.
So I'll just kind of hop into this real fast. So here's kind of the three things that, and I'll end up demonstrating these as well. But these are the three things that Traverse did to help me do better on the MCAT. So basically, it's a visual way to map out everything that you're learning. It makes flashcard creation like Anki super fast. And then it also builds connections between topics. So we're going to demonstrate each one of those, and then there's going to be some activities that you guys will be involved with as well.
Great. So yeah, let's start with the concept mapping. Actually, we have a short challenge here. If you have a pen and paper right now, or if you have Traverse open, maybe you can just create a very quick concept map of any topic that you're learning for the MCAT or whatever test you're studying for. I'm sure, Raleigh, you have some ideas of what would be interesting things to make concept maps about. So maybe you can float those.
Yeah. I'll just speak while you guys start, but you could do anything about like metabolism. You could do connections between like energy and force or the things within physics. You could do relationships between electrochemistry and acids and bases in chemistry. Or if you're pre-med right now, maybe something with physiology like the RAS system or another biological system. So just take 3 minutes, just make a quick concept map. That just kind of means just write out the main topics. And if you can link anything together, that's great too.
All right. Somebody just joined. They're called iPhone, but I suppose they have a real name as well. I don't know if you can hear us. Oh, maybe not yet.
iPhone, if you just joined right now, we're just taking 2 or 3 minutes just to write out a mind map. You can do it on Traverse if you want, or just on paper. And then we're going to use that in
Or on
kind
your
of the
iPhone.
next steps. Or on your iPhone.
Yeah, I think we have about 1 minute left for that, just to keep you up to date. And then, of course, if you want to share that, you can share it with the rest of us as well. So do 30 more seconds to wrap up the map. All right. So yeah, anybody want to show what they've come up with, or what they got? And you can write something in the chat as well. Maybe write in the chat what you made it about, first of all. Anything in the chat, Riley? Or are people still thinking?
Nothing's in the chat. Jesus says he's making MCAT resources. That's cool. Give another second. Sure, everyone's like, it's Saturday. I don't even want to study on Saturday. maybe everyone's just tired, and that's okay too. But as we go on, feel free to just write in what topic that you've put in.
Yeah. And so, I mean, so it's difficult as well to start mind mapping, because some people they try mind mapping, but then they give up again because it doesn't work. It's something I hear very often. Like, I tried mind mapping, but it didn't work for me. And there's a couple of reasons why that happens. It's because, like, if you do mind mapping the wrong way, then it's not going to be very helpful. Like, if you just draw up something, but you don't come back to it, then you're not going to improve it, and you're not going to improve the actual structure of your brain. Because that's what the mind map should be in it. It should be a reflection of what's actually in your brain. And once you have that, it really helps you organize those topics in a way that makes sense to you. And once it makes sense to you, it's much easier to remember. And when it's easier to remember, it means you have to do less repetitions, less reviews, and you have to spend less time with those flashcards, which can be quite tedious, right? But because you've already done the hard work of creating that mind map, you will then learn much faster, and you need fewer repetitions. And there's some good research backing this up as well, which you can find here, and we'll share the slides with you afterwards. But yeah, basically it helps you organize your learning, create a semantic network, and also increases your overall understanding and recall. So then, Riley, you can talk a bit more about specific maps for the MCAT.
Yeah, so let's hop in. I'm going to kind of show you how to make a map, and just how that can kind of help when you're studying. So this is kind of the process. I'll share my screen.
Oh, yeah,
sorry, Dom, can you let me share my screen?
Yeah, you can share now.
Okay, perfect. And during this part, feel free to ask any questions, right? So this is kind of how I approach this. And the thing is, sometimes we get so stoked about our mind maps that we just want to make it look perfect. But I'm going to show 3 steps, and we'll show those steps. So first is just kind of throwing down the topics that you're learning. So I'm going to go like this. Let's say I'm learning about basically DNA, transcription, RNA. So I'm going to go like this. I just throw down DNA, like, okay, I've got DNA. DNA is kind of being involved with this. Maybe I'm doing this with Kaplan or Khan. And then I'm like, okay, we've got transcription. They said that in the videos, whatever that is. And then I've got mRNA, whatever that is. And then we've got translation, whatever that is. So you're kind of just throwing down your topics, and this is kind of helping your mind kind of focus down on like, okay, these are important things that are from the video. I'm not even making connections yet. So that's the first step. You're kind of making a brain dump, and to do that, hopefully you saw that. You just do a new note, and you just put it right here on the map. That's pretty simple. So that's going to be the first step, and then we're going to go to the next part, okay? Does anybody have any questions about how that was done? Okay, perfect. Okay, it seems simple, but that's kind of what you do as you're reading through or watching the videos.
Yeah, and that's just a start, as Riley already mentioned, because then, of course, we want to kind of get deeper into building building recall and building the memory for each of those concepts. And for that, we have the flashcards and spaced repetition function. So I think most of you are familiar with spaced repetition, but just to recap, it's basically an algorithm that helps you review all the material at the optimal time. So that's like just at the moment when you're about to forget something, the app prompts you to do another review of it. So it's back on top of your head. And that really produces the optimal long-term memory.
So now I'm going to just kind of show you how we make those quickly, because when you're studying, there's a fine line between wanting to put in the effort to study because that helps you learn, but also not like taking too much time. And maybe you felt that with the MCAT. So let's go back into our map. So let's click on this. So I'll click on this node. Once again, just imagine me watching like a Khan Academy video, right? So I'm learning about transcription. I already put that topic down as I'm learning. And now at the end of the video, I'm going to start to take notes. So I'm going to go like this, or during the video if you want. I'm going to say, okay, transcription. This is where I'm going to have my notes. Occurs inside the nucleus. Okay, and that's my note. And I could add tons more notes, but this is my favorite part. Then you just highlight any word that you want to make into a flashcard. So I can go like this, click the flashcard button, and then I'm going to have a spaced repetition flashcard. So then I can go back up to here, click this, and then just quiz myself. For those of you who use Anki, this is something that you guys know. It's that spaced repetition that's going to keep it in your mind, so you're always remembering what you're learning, and it's always going to build. But hopefully you saw now, like, it can be a fast process. It doesn't need to take a lot of time. But now whenever I click back into this node transcription, I can look over my notes like, oh yeah, this is what transcription does, or I can just study the flashcards. So that's step 2.
All right, great. So then for the final step, we call this linking your thinking. So this is basically where the magic happens and everything comes together. So this is where you start really making those connections that we talked about that are so important for learning the MCAT, and you no longer learn in isolation. And yeah, that also helps with exam questions, which really I'm sure you know all about.
Yeah, and that's kind of important. You guys know this with exam questions or pre-med. Most of the questions aren't going to be about content, right? It's not just going to be like, what is DNA, right? It's going to be like, so if the nucleus was injured, what would happen with transcription, right? And so that's going to be where we draw on our connections. And that's why making connections with our thinking is so important instead of just making lots of isolated flashcards, right? So let me show you how to do that. So I'll go back to my map. So this is the third step, right? Remember, I watched the video, I made my topics, I put some notes and flashcards in. And then now I'm going to just start linking. So I'm going to say, okay, DNA is going to go into transcription. I can even name this link. I'm just going to enter right there. And then once transcription happens, I'm going to get mRNA. And then this is my new favorite part about Traverse, which we're so stoked about. Now you can start quizzing yourself on these pathways. So I can go up here. To do that, you'll go up here and then, oh, sorry, that's covering it. You can click on Add Map Occlusion Flashcards. And then you can click on these dots, and that's going to occlude that node or note and turn it into a spaced repetition flashcard. So now I'll go up here and click Start. I'll zoom in, and you'll see right here that it's going to occlude that node. I'm like, okay, what is the step between DNA and mRNA? And then I say, okay, cool, it's transcription. So that's kind of the third and final step, is really trying to link what you're learning and then testing yourself on those links.
Awesome. Yeah, any questions about that in the meantime? Just feel free to chime in. If not, yeah, we want to talk a bit about like the bigger thing that we are pursuing. Like, we want to build the best app for learning, for medical learning, for pre-medical learning, for MCAT learning. And we basically want to be able to together with you. So we see you as part of our mission. So we're not just building a tool, but we're also building a community around it. And with that, a central place where people can actually share resources that can help other people learn Math or MCAT faster. And Rally and Jesus as well actually have been active on Reddit with that community. So maybe you can share a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I'm just posting this right in here, the link to this, but we've decided to make the community onto Traverse Med. Traverse Med is our Reddit, our subreddit, and so that way you can transfer easily from like the MCAT Reddit or any other Reddit where you can find great information. But basically on this subreddit, you can ask questions, you can get support, you can, for example, learn more about the Anking maps. There's a lot of users on the Anking map, so you can ask a lot of questions there. And then you can just gain confidence with the app as you learn with the community. So we would love for you guys to join that community. And then if you go to the next slide, you can even take another step further. So if you want that map that you were making earlier, or any map that you make, if you post that this weekend on Reddit or on that Traverse Med subreddit, then we're going to give you this tag. It's called the Traverse Innovator, and that means that like you're not necessarily a moderator, but you're a person who's contributing to the community with maps and resources. If you want to mentor other people in it. And this is just like a fun plug note. You know, it could be a great thing for your medical school applications. In almost all of my interviews for medical school, they brought up Traverse just because they thought it was so interesting. So, for example, you could say something like, yeah, like as a Traverse innovator, I constructed 20 different maps about metabolism and shared it with my peers and answered questions. And I love creating and innovating, right? So it could also be a fun thing for med school, but this isn't something that you need to feel pressured with. Most of all, we just want you guys to get the support and help you need. And that can all be found on the Traverse Med subreddit. And that link, once again, is in the chat.
Awesome. Oh, and then we have Jesus on the call. Rally, do you want to introduce Jesus?
Yeah, okay, so Jesus is also an MCAT student. He's awesome. He's actually the lead moderator of the Traverse Med community on Reddit. Jesus, do you want to just kind of introduce yourself and just anything about the community?
Yeah, of course. Hopefully you all can hear me pretty well. I recently had an injury where I broke my jaw, so it's wired shut right now. But yeah, that's something interesting for the day. But yeah, essentially, the Reddit community is just like Raleigh mentioned, a place for you to go and learn a little bit more about how to use Traverse, contribute your concept maps, and honestly just meet other people that are studying for the same thing as you are. We hope that you all can use it to network, to come up with concept maps together, perhaps find study buddies, or just answer and post any questions that you have or you come up with along your studies. I'm currently studying for my MCAT as well. My test day is set for April, so it's a little bit later than a couple of you. But I'm excited to help out with the Reddit community. I'm excited to see you all there. I've been posting a little bit as this call has been going on, adding some more tags and just trying to make it a little bit more interesting. So if there's anything that you all want to see on there, feel free to ask Raleigh or I. And yeah, I hope to see you all there. Feel free to ask me any questions on Reddit. And yeah, thank you all for being here.
Awesome.
And I'm going to throw, Jesus is the best. I'm just going to throw his username, his Reddit username in the chat just so that you can reach out to him if you need. And then mine as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see what concept maps you all upload.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope your jaw recovers soon, Jesus.
Thank you. It's doing well so far.
Nice. That's good to hear.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
So you guys have the like Anki capability where you can make the flashcards and stuff, But as far as like incorporating them into these mind maps, like the cards that I do on there aren't gonna actually do anything for like my Anki profile. Like if I do those cards, it's not gonna have any effect on that, right? Because a lot of us are already established on Anki, and we're already at a certain process and everything. And transverse would be useful like once we get into med school and if we're starting our notes and stuff. But a lot of times, if it's not if it's not broken, don't fix it. And it's kind of like a lot of people have already developed Anki cards and all that stuff with it. So you see what I'm saying? Like, and Anki's kind of got the free aspect too. So like, I love the fact that you guys have the visualization and stuff like that. But if there was a way you could somehow connect it where what you did on transverse directly affected the algorithm that you did through Anki, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So I don't know if you are aware, but you can import your Anki decks and then make them visual with the maps. I don't know if you've tried that, Michael.
No. Yeah, like I know that, but when you
want it the
start
other way
Anki
around,
and stuff,
right?
and you spend, yeah.
I think that's an interesting mention, and I'll make a note of that. We can maybe look into that. If that's something that a lot of people find useful, then it might be possible to kind of, I guess you kind of want to sync your flashcard progress back into Anki. Is that how you were thinking about it?
Yeah, like sync what I'm doing in Anki into transverse, like my progress and where I'm at and all the cards that I've done and everything. You see what I'm saying? Because like if I just right now, I don't think this would be useful to me because of where I'm at already in my studies. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right.
that totally makes sense.
Right.
Kind of you need to get your repetition like algorithm back in so you don't start from ground zero. Is that what you're saying,
Yep.
Michael?
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Okay, and I
Right.
just want to say here, and we'll write that down, but this is like ideas like this, Michael, and for all of you, please post them on the Reddit as well. Like if you guys are using the app and you see a glitch, or if you use the app and you say, like Michael says right here, like, hey, it would be awesome for the algorithm to be uploaded as well. Post it in the Reddit because Dom's on that Reddit as well, and then he can be looking at that, and then those changes can be made. So honestly, we love the feedback. So that's awesome. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome. Yeah, like if you guys could somehow do that, I would 100% like buy the subscription and everything. But like where I'm at right now, currently in my studies and stuff, like it would be counterintuitive.
Right. Yeah, I see. So it's really your study schedule that's all in Anki, and I guess you would want Traverse to sync with that review schedule. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, got it. I can so totally see that why that will be useful. Cool. Anybody else got any questions at this point? If not,
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if there's people that haven't heard of Anki to begin with. Does everybody know what Anki is? Because it's kind of just a step ahead of Anki, so that's why when we reference that, you have a little bit of an idea of what that platform is.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't see anybody commenting, but I don't know if that means that they all know Anki or that they don't know Anki. But it's basically a spaced repetition software, so it will let you do the flashcards that Traverse also has, and it focuses basically just on that. So it gives you a lot of settings to set up those flashcards. All right. Yeah, if nothing else at that point, again, thanks, Jesus. And then I just want to introduce kind of the special deal we have prepared for Thursday. Like we don't do Black Friday deals on Traverse. We do the Gold Thursday deal. And the reason is because you shouldn't wait until Black Friday with studying. You should start right now or before Thursday. And so I'm just gonna run you through what you will get if you decide to get it. Like we're literally the first people that I'm showing this to. I'll send out some emails next week, but since you're on the webinar, you're the first to hear about it. So you will get the unlimited maps, notes, uploads, imports. That includes the Anki imports, Not yet with the spaced repetition schedule sync that Michael mentioned, but who knows, maybe we'll include that at some point. Then you get features like the map occlusion that Raleigh just showed. You also get sketches, team collaboration, Pomodoro timers, and as Raleigh said, you can decide with us what we will build next as well. And obviously there's the Traverse Map community where hopefully you would rise to the level of being one of the innovators yourself as well. So we'll basically help you memorize better, understand better, be an innovator, put it on your math school application as well. It's a great point. And then get help, of course, when you're stuck. Yeah, just showing you a couple of other things that people have accomplished with Traverse. So Bill, for example, like me, has used the Traverse system to get fluent into in Chinese. Kat is, like most of you here, another MCAT student. She was struggling with organizing everything that she was learning with Traverse. She was able to basically create those connections, and that helped her reason through complex topics. Then there's stuff like the map occlusion that Raleigh just said. Like this was actually brought up by Vikram, who's a tutor, an MCAT tutor at Shemesh. Like he said, it would be so cool if you could create flashcards directly from the map, and we thought it was pretty cool as well. So we decided just to build that. And yeah, this is what can happen. Maybe Michael's idea could be another example of where we actually do that. And finally, you get help when you're stuck. So, for example, Anking has created those awesome Anki decks that you all know, and together with him, we've turned those into Traverse maps so that you can not only learn the flashcards and the facts, but you can also see those connections. So that is one way of us providing help with content, but then obviously any questions that you have, we're happy to answer them as well. And yeah, finally, just to make it very clear, like Traverse works for a lot of people, for visual learners, auditory learners, textual learners, but people are very different. So even if it doesn't work for you, it's not a problem. I will refund you if you tell me within 14 days. So yeah, basically the offer you get is you get the yearly plan for $90 a year, which basically means you get 2 months for free and you get a 40% discount on the normal price. And that's if you get it before Thursday on this link. I'll also put that link into the chat. It's sales.traverse.link/14. So yeah, whether you take up the offer or not, I just want to open it up for Q&A so that you can ask any questions, or maybe you want Raleigh to demo more stuff. That's also possible. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it to the audience, and we can do whatever you guys think is most useful at this point.
I had one more quick question. Do you guys have the capability yet to like change the algorithm for like the flashcards, where you can
that's
go
a
in
good
and
one.
fine tune it?
Yeah, so that's in progress, because it has come up multiple times. So we haven't released that yet, but I think that will probably happen fairly soon. I would say maybe within 2 or 3 months we should be able to do that. And Michael, with that, I would love more information. So what specifically do you find helpful in terms of scheduling flashcards, or how would you like to change the algorithm for yourself?
For me personally, it's just like it's a pretty large learning curve to do Anki. And so once you've kind of dedicated all that time to learn how to fine tune all that stuff, it could be kind of possibly kind of like discouraging to try to, I guess, learn another system. So, I mean, if you guys set up something that was kind of like similar, where you could, you know, how many days, like if you get a wrong answer, or, you know, just, I don't know, it's kind of like, as far as like the actual algorithm itself, to be able to go in and adjust it and stuff, because what you would do, like the algorithm that you would use for learning like a language and the algorithm that you would use for studying for the MCAT are totally different. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Yeah. So basically, yeah, just setting those interval preferences. I think that's
Yeah, I think Michael, if I understand right, maybe we can take as we work on this one, because this has been brought up, and so we're gonna try to do it. If I just kind of if we basically look at how Anki's set up the settings where you kind of like almost like basically screenshot what they've done and then kind of develop that, would that kind of be a solution?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Because like
Awesome.
I've spent like months and stuff getting used to and accustomed to Anki and stuff, and to kind of switch over to something um else would kind of be like I was saying, like counterintuitive.
right.
Yep,
Yeah,
that totally makes sense.
sense.
And we love this feedback, guys. So please always just share feedback. What else? What else do you guys have? And Michael, you
So
can
I
keep
think
sharing, or Gina or Sarah or
Ian posted something in the chat. Any tips for using the Feynman technique option? I think actually, Rally, you had an interesting way of doing that, recording yourself, right? Maybe you want to share a bit more about that.
you know, I'm trying to think. I just saw, so we're always adding new features, and I think Dom actually just added a new Feynman technique feature into the cards. You probably would know more. This happened like literally yesterday. Dom, do you want to show
Yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So actually, so we've added a couple of templates into the cards, and one of the templates is the Feynman technique. So yeah, I can show you quickly how to do that, and then I think, Rally, you can then share a bit more about how you actually brought that into practice for the MCAT. Sorry, just opening it up so you can screen share.
Great question, Ian.
So yeah, actually, it used to be. So I mean, this page, it used to be empty, just for context, before well, up until 2 days ago. But now we have a couple of templates here, and we're hoping to make those better and add more to that. And one of the templates, as Ian said, is the Feynman technique. And if you click that, it basically shows you the process of how you can learn by teaching, which is basically the Feynman technique. And it starts by writing something in your own words, and you can use that space for this, and then tick off the box here once you've done that. And then you kind of do the learning by teaching part. It's where you tell your friend about it, or you show them what you've written down here, or you share that. And you can even record yourself, which I think is what Rally did. And then you can write down here, like, well, what questions did they ask? Maybe they asked you some question and you realized, oh, I don't have a good answer to that. So that's basically when you identify knowledge gaps. And you can make note of all of those here. And at that point, once you've collected all of those knowledge gaps that you still need to do, you can basically go back to the original learning materials, or maybe you need to look into some new sources because it wasn't covered. Read up on that, and then revise this explanation, and then go through the process again until you have that deep understanding. So that's the basic idea of the Feynman technique. I don't know, Ian, if you have any more specific questions, and I think, Rally, you have something to share as well.
I'll just share this, and it sounds like he might write in. Oh, he says thanks. Yeah, of course, Ian. And sorry, Dom, if you want to go back to that screen real fast, just to show. So I did the same thing, Ian, for studying. Buoyancy was like my snowball. It was just, I don't know why buoyancy was so hard, learning buoyancy for the MCAT, but I made like 3 videos about buoyancy, and I recorded myself drawing out buoyancy and everything. And so I love with Introverse now, because those just went to like my camera feed. I don't think I ever watched them ever again. But with Introverse, you can add a video into your notes. I don't know, Dom, if you kind of just want to show how to do that real fast.
Yeah,
If
actually,
you
maybe
click on that little plus button, there's lots of options.
Yeah, let's get a YouTube video from Vikram, maybe, who we just mentioned. He has some good MCAT videos, right? I think you also use his videos, is that right, Raleigh?
Yep, exactly. I also used his videos as well.
Yeah. So basically,
so
you can upload a video here, or if it's a YouTube video, you can just paste the link and it will be inserted here. And you can watch it directly and then take your notes.
And just a little plug, we do on the Anking decks, almost all of the topics are filled with Khan Academy videos. So you can watch the Khan Academy videos in the notes and then directly make flashcards from there.
Yeah.
What other questions does while he pulls that up, does anybody else have any questions? These are great.
Yeah, so here's an example of the Anking deck with the explanation video and then basically the flashcards that about the same topic.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention when Dom mentions that he's working on new features, he is not kidding. Like literally there are updates to the app almost every week. Every time I go to log on, there's something new for me to learn. So he's very on top of suggestions and he takes those to heart and works on implementing new features. And it's good to be able to have such a connection with somebody that's creating this on the back end and be able to implement new strategies. So yeah, I really like that about Dom.
Thanks, Jesus.
Yeah, just to add to that, Dom is always making so many cool things. I literally didn't know about the Finman technique add-on until yesterday. So honestly, please share your feedback and you'll probably see it implemented. Does anybody have any questions about like the Reddit community at all, or how to share maps? That might be a question. I don't know if you know how to share maps yet.
Yeah, I was hoping we could maybe just go over it really quickly, Raleigh. And I've been working on some flares that we can attach to posts. So for those that don't know how to use them or just don't know how to navigate the app, maybe we can go over it really quickly.
Yeah, Jesus, do you want to?
If I
Do you
can,
have the ability to share?
I hope so.
Yeah, you should have, I think.
I'm not sure.
You should have permission at least, but I don't know if your
Okay.
device supports it.
Good, I'm working on it. Okay. I didn't enable permissions before logging into Zoom, so I'd have to restart it. But let's see. If
Okay,
could
I
just
can
pull
share
it
my
up
screen.
on
yeah,
perfect.
and
Yeah.
I guess
I'll
Jesus
make
can
sure that setting is
comment
turned on.
Jesus can comment
Yeah.
while Raleigh does his stuff.
Raleigh, if you wanted to go to the mod tools and then the flares, I've just been adding literally a bunch as we've been having this conversation. Over at the top, yeah. So if you just go to like where if you were to add a new flare, a post flare, a little bit lower. Yeah, so these, and I believe you can assign these to your post. So if you have anything that relates to these different flares, you can go ahead and add it. So like that we mentioned, you can post some glitches, new feature suggestions, and we all look at this, like study buddies. I've been posting on there somewhat recently, and I started assigning flares just to kind of clean things up. And then if you go back to the home screen again, Raleigh, you can you scroll down a little bit. You can filter by flare as he was highlighting earlier today. So if you're interested in just, let's say, decks and maps, it'll just highlight that which is relevant. I'll change the background on this so it's not purple, but yeah, it just makes it a little bit easier, cleans it up a little bit so that what you're interested is what we'll come up with. And then hopefully we can start posting some content related questions and answers. And then we can get everybody else to post theirs. Because even if you post a question and or answer and it's incorrect, you'll still be learning when somebody else corrects you. And so it'll kind of just be a learn as you go type thing. And yeah, we're excited to see what everybody has to share on Reddit. I think this can become a very helpful tool for your studies and for when you get into school and you can help others as they start with their MCAT study. So
Yeah, guys, we're so excited, and it's a great way to kind of just keep building and and learning. And it's just always fun to share something that you've created. I just want to quickly show this. If you don't know how to do this yet, you just, with any of your traversals, you just change it right here to public, and then you can do copy link, and then you can share it onto here. That's kind of how you go about that process. Is there any questions you guys have about the community or anything like that?
The only thing I think like before I go is just mentioning the syncing that I think if you guys did that, I think if you were able to sync the Anki progress and you're able to customize the algorithm like Anki, like I think you guys would have a surge of people that would come over to Traverse, because it would be literally, you would take the best thing about Anki and you would incorporate it with the visualization of the mind maps and then being able to import the videos. So there would be no reason for why people wouldn't try Traverse. So I think if you guys do that, I think you would be sitting on probably the best study tool by far.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think it's definitely worth looking into how difficult it's going to be to set up that sync, because that will be the most challenging part, I think. But as you say, it would unlock a lot of people who are currently, well, maybe stuck with Anki, but maybe not 100% happy with it.
Thanks again, Michael, for sharing that, and feel free to hop off, guys, if you need to. This is just time for any questions you guys might have. But Michael, thank you, and we hope to see you in the community, and please keep sharing different ideas, because this app's only gotten better because everybody's shared different thoughts. So thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you guys. Appreciate your time explaining all this, and visual learner and everything. I've struggled because I've had to pick or choose between, okay, do I want something like a mind map or do I want flashcards and stuff? So I can never get the best of both worlds. So I appreciate you guys setting this up, because I think the potential for this is really high. And I think you would help a lot of people, including myself.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Michael. And yeah, I think your feedback has been really valuable. So I'm looking forward to looking into that and hopefully start building.